Hi, I'm very excited to invite our guest for today. Name is Ancy Alexander. She's an entrepreneur, a dance enthusiast, an advocate for equal opportunities for people of all abilities. And she was detected very early in her childhood. She was born with cerebral palsy, which affected her walking, and dancing was something this described to her as to complement her physiotherapy session. Ancy is trained in classical dance, such as Bharatanatyam and Kathak. She's attended many inclusive choreography sessions in US, India, and Dubai, and to democratize dance for all. She's founded KriyAbility that conducts exploratory dance sessions for people of determination. Say hi, Ansi.
Hey Shobhika, such a lovely introduction. Thank you.
And I am Shubhika Kalra. I'm the co-founder of Wings of Angels. Wings of Angels is a CDA-recognized social initiative that aims to make Dubai and then the whole world wheelchair-friendly. We do this by creating awareness of the need of wheelchair accessibility. And we do this by finding out about the places that don't have wheelchair access. Then we support the organization to become wheelchair accessible. So I would like to ask you a few questions, Nancy. Yeah. Okay, tell me something about cerebral palsy, what it is.
Cerebral palsy is a condition, I guess, where today it is expanded from what it was about 30, 35 years ago. Um, in, in a nutshell, the baby goes through a small window of, let's say, a shock, or there is a small window where the oxygen supply to the baby's brain is cut off. It may happen while it's in the mother's womb or during birth or immediately after. And depending on which part of the brain is left affected the most, different parts of the brain takes care of different functions in our body. And I happen to be affected waist down, and it can be different for different people. For some people it may be speech, for some people it may be eyesight, some people it may be just a combination of learning difficulties as well as locomotive challenges. So it comes in many shapes and forms, but it's basically just a little bit that small jolt that happens which leads to some part of our being affected.
And what do you think is the importance of a movement in dance and cerebral palsy?
Uh, Dance, honestly, Shobhika, is not important, I feel, just for um, cerebral palsy. For any body, I think movement is important.
Yeah,
It's
very true.
it's something that Dr. Juanita Singh, the founder of Movement Mantra, which is an organization that conducts dance and yoga based sessions for people with Parkinson's disease primarily. She is a very dear friend and a mentor. I think dance is a great way of keeping one's muscles moving, and not just for cerebral palsy, of course, just because of the way you walk or just because of lack of activity, really. You know, like your joints, your muscles, everything can get really cobwebby. Like it can get really stuck in. You just don't lubricate it enough with movement. So dance is just a great form to introduce and just stay connected to movement.
So, and can you tell me a little bit about your journey with cerebral palsy?
Sure. But interestingly, I grew up with zero idea about my condition. I mean, my parents were very sensitive about the topic. My physiotherapist, all parents, you can imagine, like same story. Every household with a differently able kid, the same story. I think parents have like a template, emotional response template. They all have the same response and same concerns. Um, and with Indian parents, the drama is through the roof, which is brilliant. Uh, and it was no less at my house. Mom, especially being a nurse herself before she stopped working, she was pretty much, I guess, obsessed with trying to find out if there was a permanent cure for the condition. So physiotherapy was high on the list, and the doctors, when they told my parents that, listen, this is not reversible, so you're going to pretty much, stay with the condition. Obviously broke my parents, but I did not fully understand what that meant. Out of the blues, you're introduced to physiotherapy sessions after school. You're not really understanding what's going on. I hated going for physio because that meant I had to compromise on cartoon time back in the days. Like right after school, you've got that precious window, 2 hours of cartoon time. And that's exactly when my physiotherapy used to happen. And I used to hate it. Like if I could come up with a way to not turn up for physio, I would totally do it. But I had to go, obviously. I had no choice. And I didn't know how affected I was, though. So I did grow up, or rather, till I was about 12. I did not have an accurate understanding of what my problem was outside of having multiple accidents at school. Like I wouldn't, I'd get pushed around a lot. I'd lose my balance a lot. So I'd keep falling and coming home with scraped knees and scraped elbows, which obviously upset dad a lot. And he's very sensitive when it comes to me. But till I was about 12, I didn't even know what was wrong with me. And then I guess that's such an interesting age, as you're stepping into your teenagers, that's when you want to feel like you're the most beautiful human being in the world. But obviously the mirror tells you that's not the truth. And then on top of that, you've got like a problem, which is very visible. I guess that shook me. And I guess in school, just being differently abled, I love dancing, but I don't think having a differently abled participant or student in talent competitions and talent shows, it was normal. So teachers didn't know what to do with me. Although I must say that I grew up. Partly, I also blame it on having a phenomenal guru. I started my dance training with Guru S. Natarajan, who just left us in November. It was very, he was so dedicated to teaching dance and not being biased. So because he was not biased and he gave me a classroom setting and a dance education that was, that did not differentiate. In my head, therefore, I did not recognize that I am differently able, then I probably do not do things the way other students do or other bodies do. I was just used to putting in the extra hard work and just being present for class and just receiving training in dance lessons as any other able-bodied child at that age. So obviously when I grew up, or as I was growing up, when I started being pushed back by other teachers, be it for sports or be it in dance, for being differently able, it was something that took me a while to register. But but it becomes a part and parcel of your life. You kind of quickly get into a shell, and you kind of develop all these ideas, and you don't want to dance anymore, and you don't want to really be active anymore, and you're concerned about the way you look more than anything else. So all of that. But interestingly, my mom was very, very adamant about performing academically. So I had no excuse not to study and study real hard. So that, interestingly, that was there. I guess that was something good and bad, but bad in the sense I had to deal with mom being a tiger mom when it came to studies, but good in a way that something kept me like go, and not really kind of rolling in self-pity.
Challenges, which people with CB face?
uh, I guess be it with CP or with most conditions, inclusivity and equal opportunity is something that people struggle with. Like, it's a lot of able-bodied people or people who teach or who are instructors. I think they do not know what to do with someone who is different. That is, I guess, if you were to ask me for experiences, those are experiences where I know I've been hurt. Maybe because I've always liked and wanted to dance. Anything dance specific, dance based rejections are what stayed with me the most. And they've all happened. I guess I've always experienced them from either a teacher at school or an instructor at a dance academy, where they'd be like, oh, do we really have to do a show with this individual? Or because we'll have to slow down, or we can't really prepare this body in X amount of time. And I guess that's what the difference is. Like you said, I've been blessed with the late Guru Natarajan, and then when I started learning Kathak in my mid-20s, Guru Pali Chandra. These are phenomenal teachers who worked with what I brought to the table, as opposed to stressing about the challenges or my limitations. But you can't expect everybody to be the same. And I guess that's where true learning lies. And I guess that's also telling of, there are people who know what they know, and then there are people who are masters of what they do. Now, the masters, they will not sit back and be like, I need a body that is super flexible, super agile, super conventional to do X, Y, and Z. They can work with a differently able body as well as they can work with, a conventional body. So I guess rejections on the dance floor and in dance class is definitely what has stayed with me. But I'm glad that those things happened, because that's shaped the urgency for advocacy, when it comes to equal opportunities in performing arts for people who are differently able.
And that is why you are the way you are.
I hope so. It's the good and the bad that shapes you, right?
And can you tell me how dance has helped you as a therapy in dealing with CB?
Dance, hands down, is therapeutic. With the condition or without the condition, dancing is, they say it is a great boost for your dopamine levels. Good dopamine levels are good to stay happy, beat anxiety, beat depression. So that's great. For me personally, Shobika, if I wasn't dancing, I wouldn't really take the effort to take care of my health. So anything that I do to attend to my health is purely because I want to be able to dance at least half an inch better than I danced the previous day. That's, I guess my obsession with dance is really just there so that I don't give up on my health and just sit back and go, I don't want to do this and I don't want to do that and I don't want to try the other thing. Like we were talking earlier on, like even about Ayurveda. Ayurveda was an option presented to my parents as I was growing up, because every summer holidays, pretty much, it was either visiting various, holy places where mom would want to pray that I get recovered fully, or it was just another specialist in another part of Kerala or India. And I guess Ayurveda was just one of those options. Like, oh no, she'll have to stay here for about 3 to 6 months, and we'll do this. And I remember this, and I told mom, oh no, I'll have to miss school, and I don't want to really stay back, and I don't want to do anything in Kerala for 6 months. What'll I do? And I'll miss school. And I knew mom would freak out about me missing school, so I fully played that card. Like, no, I don't want to miss school. I don't want to do any of this. We'll figure out. We'll see. Maybe something else. I'll do more physio if you want. Not an issue. So I completely avoided that. And then in my 20s, Paliji really put her foot down when I started learning Kathak. And she was like, a dancer's body goes through wear and tear, and your body is your instrument. So it's your responsibility to take care of your body, especially if you're dancing, or if you're in any performing arts for that matter of fact. So she insisted that I go to Kerala for my very first Ayurveda treatment, and I've made sure that I try and do that at least once a year since then. And I wouldn't have really started that had I not had this interest in dance.
I think Ayurveda is like an option for all Indian parents.
Everybody and go for Ayurveda immediately. But touch wood, I'm really fortunate that where I go to in Kerala, they understand and respect the fact that I do this because I want to dance better. And it's one of those places where the doctor, like the very first doctor who figured out that I was born with cerebral palsy, he prescribed dance, and he told my mom that you better make sure that she gets as much physical activity as possible outside of physiotherapy. So my doctor in Kerala is one of those, Dr. Prasad. He insists that I dance. Insists. And I guess as far as he's concerned, dancing is a part of my treatment.
And a very nice point, because usually allopathic doctors don't talk about the importance of movement for the body.
Yeah.
And recently my physiotherapist is the one who told me about it. So I didn't know, I was not active at all.
But isn't that interesting? And for me, it's not just physical. I guess it's also psychological. Like I'm definitely low emotionally when I'm not dancing. And it was such a revelation. Like I didn't even know that happens to me till I crossed mid-20s. Closer to my 30s is when I actually, I was able to articulate that not dancing actually makes me unhappy. So I need dance to actively be present in my life. Absolutely. It is so true. And it's fantastic no matter what you're feeling. For me, no matter what my day is looking like or how bad, circumstances get at times, it's wonderful how meditative I feel the zone gets when I'm dancing. So when I go for my dance class, it's like there's nothing else I'm thinking about, it's because you're so focused, right? And fortunately I'm currently training in Bharatanatyam again. So I've resurrected Bharatanatyam training in my life, which is great, and at a fantastic school in
Bharatanatyam when I was really young, but I left it because it was very difficult.
Then you kind of look for yoga and Pilates and calisthenics training and just all of those things which help you at least keep your stamina and continue with dancing. Like it's not easy. If you were to deliver a repertoire of, I don't know, anything over 30 minutes, where will you get that energy from? Just going to a dance class and just kind of moving and coming back is not going to help you have that. So when I started Pilates is the first time, I think I must have been 26 or 27 back then. That's the first time in my life I found out what my core is. So till that point, if anybody told me, Ancy, engage your core, I'd just stop breathing. Go. And I thought that was engaging my core because I had no clue where the core was in my body because I've never had to use it. And maybe it's something particular to my condition.
Yeah, because even I get to know what core is now.
Till you actually, till that point hurts. You never realize where that point is.
Yeah.
So that was a good revelation.
Determination, like what would you want the community, like how would you want like the community to deal with the people of determination?
Uh, I guess one is to have an inclusive mindset. And when I say inclusive mindset, I don't mean just calling yourself inclusive. And I feel something that's extremely popular these days would be, oh, please don't call the person disabled. I'm like, "Arey, you can say it as long as you're saying it respectfully. But if you're using the, oh, that person's disabled, like you're talking like, you're talking down to somebody using that word, I guess anyone can put you in place, and I guess you should. But for people from mainstream population, if they just had an inclusive mindset to be a bit more sensitive and sensible at the same time, we'd go a long way. And I guess to really stop saying and doing things to, put a tick against CSR. I'm doing charity. I'm doing the right CSR. Like, people can see these things. If you truly want to be inclusive, I think you need to start integrating people of determination into everyday activities responsibly and sensibly. Don't cut them off, and then again, I keep saying it's a two-way street. Like, for example, being differently abled, I know I have active parking that's available to me. Now, my way of being sensible and responsible to the society is then I park my car in that spot so that someone who does not have a permit, who needs to go around maybe 15 times to find a regular parking spot, they don't feel like like I've parked in their spot when I've got, the only problem is that I may have to walk or move like 2 steps or 3 steps from where I'm parked to reach my destination. As long as I've got that parking, might as well park there. But at the same time, what's ridiculous is for somebody wearing stilettos coming in, leaving their vehicle in adaptive parking because they can't walk in their stilettos and walk into the supermarket. I'm like, that's rubbish. So it's a two-way street. As long as both parties can be respectful to each other and honest to God, like, we don't need to be given opportunities. It's like, that's like saying, oh, the date palm on the street has to be given that space. It's there. That landscape has that date palm as a part of it, and you kind of live and you operate with that in mind. So we can have the same thing, same approach when it comes to people of determination. That would be great, as opposed to keep saying that, oh, you have to give us the space, you have to give us the opportunity. I'm like, we're not here for charity. Just step up, be a bit more responsible, be a bit more grown up about the whole thing, and I guess it'll be a bit more seamless.
And what do you tell yourself on a day when you're really low, and how do you keep yourself motivated to keep going on?
When I'm really low, I think, Shobika, one thing I've learned the hard way is to allow myself to be really low. There's something that's really been that I've been seeing a lot around me is a lot of people refuse to feel low. You can't always be on a high plane. You can't always be pumped with positivity and happiness, and like, you can't be doing that all the time. You're going to have, like, that's just how life is, right? You need to allow yourself to experience the lows, experience the pain, experience the setback, but know that there is something on the other side of it. I mean, of course, these are speed breakers, but if you kind of see speed breakers as the end of the road, I guess then we are to blame. It's entirely, our responsibility to see the road ahead. So I guess for me, that's when I'm feeling really low, I'm like, okay, I'm really low. This is what I'm feeling. I go through it, but I know that I need to step up and continue doing what I'm meant to be doing.
That's what is important. And see, what impact would you like to create on this world?
What im- I'd be very happy if I started seeing more differently able people getting opportunities in education and performing arts. I guess that's definitely something I'm very focused on. Um, that's I think we'd be in a good place if differently able people were truly included as part of things that people think are aesthetic and visually pleasing and visually exciting and all of those things. Just see more representation in those areas. That's what I'd like to do.
How do you stay strong in such a crisis with such a strong will?
Staying strong, I guess a lot of credit goes to my parents. I've seen them um, battle it out with some very tough situations in life. They're incredibly strong people, um, and they've been that way. Especially mom. Like I guess mom's instilled it in me in many ways by being this adamant about doing well academically if I can't be physically fit. And even with dance, um, there's no compromise. She's like, if you've done your absolute best, then it's all right. But there's no excuse to not stretch yourself to do your absolute best. And my dad as well is man who is a complete self-made man. So I guess I definitely draw that from them. So I guess it's in the genes in some respect. And I'm not a huge self pity beyond a point. Of course, I mean, there are swollen ankles and there are aches in the back, and of course there's nothing that wears me down or hurts me like not being able to dance like I would like to. There are some pieces that I'd like to do. There are some jumps that I'd like to do, which I know I won't be able to. At least I can't do them yet. Those are the things that really hurt me. But then you can stay there, you can experience that pain, and then you can think about what else and what more can I do. I guess that's how you truly try to keep yourself afloat, and the you can just go through the days in this life, or you can live this life. And I'm a huge believer of living this life to the best of one's ability.
Really nice speaking to you. Thank you, Angie. Thank you so much.